We've all probably wondered about this. Could a tool like Chatgpt be the secret key to finally learning a new language? Is it this incredible futuristic tutor, or is it basically just a really fancy phrase book? Well, today we're cutting through all the hype to see what the data actually tells us. So let's just get right to it. Can you really learn a language like Spanish just by talking to an AI? On one hand, you hear it's this revolutionary new teacher. On the other, maybe it's just a high-tech dictionary. It's time to find out. The whole conversation around AI in school usually boils down to one of two things, right? Some people see it as this amazing study buddy that helps you learn faster than ever before. Others, they think it's just the ultimate cheat sheet, a way to get answers without actually learning anything. To figure out what's true, we've got to see how it actually works in a real classroom. And to get past all the opinions, we're going to turn to the data. We're looking at a fascinating study that put ChatGPT to the test with actual students. This right here is where the hype finally meets reality. Okay, so here's the setup. Researchers got a group of college kids who were all taking Spanish class. They had them use ChatGPT for the whole semester. And here's the clever part. They surveyed them twice, once at the very beginning of the term and again at the very end. This way, they could see how everyone's opinion about the AI changed over time, from that first impression to the long-term reality. So what did the students think at first? Well, the initial reaction was, to put it mildly, super positive. Right out of the gate, the enthusiasm for using ChatGPT to learn Spanish was through the roof. And the one thing that stood out more than anything else, vocabulary. I mean, this totally makes sense, right? If you need a quick definition or a synonym for a word, ChatGPT is pretty much instant. And the approval numbers here were, well, they were really striking. A massive 93%. Let that sink in. Nearly every single student in that first survey found ChatGPT helpful for learning vocabulary. That is a huge, huge endorsement, and it shows you exactly where this tool shines right away. And it wasn't just vocab. Look at this. For the other core skills like writing, grammar, and reading, you've got over 80% of students giving it a thumbs up. The initial verdict was pretty clear. Students really saw AI as a total game changer for learning the basics. This comment from a student just sums it all up perfectly, doesn't it? They loved the quick answers, the help with basic ideas, and how it worked as a translator and grammar checker. It was like having this perfect, all-in-one assistant. But, as you've probably already guessed, that's not the whole story. As the semester went on and the students started moving beyond the basics to more complex interactive stuff, the picture started to get a little more complicated. Yeah, after using the tool for a few months, the students really started to see its limits. That initial wow factor gave way to a much more realistic view of what the AI could do, and, more importantly, what it couldn't, especially when it came to actually talking to other people. Okay, this table really shows you what happened. Just focus on speaking for a second. At the start, 79% of students found it helpful. But by the end of the semester, that number plummeted to 58%. That's a massive 21-point drop. And you see similar, though smaller, drops for listening and reading too. The message is pretty clear. When students needed to practice skills that felt like real-time interaction, the AI just didn't seem as valuable anymore. And this student's comment from the end of the semester just hits the nail on the head. You can't really simulate the pressure or the quick thinking or just the messy reality of a real conversation. The AI has limits because it can't give you that real-life experience, and that's the one thing you absolutely need to become fluent. So what's the big lesson here? Is ChatGPT good or bad for learning a language? Well, the study suggests that's kind of the wrong question to be asking. The right question is, how can we use it smarter? And the answer seems to be this. Think of AI not as your teacher, but as a support tool. It's an amazing, tireless assistant. Seriously, it's brilliant for drilling vocabulary flashcards, for double-checking your grammar, or helping you practice writing sentences. But it's just not a substitute for a real teacher, and it's definitely not a substitute for real-world conversation. All right, so how do you actually do that? The study basically gives us a little rule book. First, be specific. Short, clear questions get you better answers. Second, and this is a big one, always verify what it tells you. AIs can and do make mistakes, so think of their answers as a first draft, not the final word. Third, focus on support. Use it to practice the fundamentals, not to replace talking to people. And finally, just a practical tip, make sure you know your school's policy on using these tools before you start. Which brings us to the ultimate question, doesn't it? The real skill here isn't just about getting an answer from an AI. It's about learning to ask the right kinds of questions, the ones that actually push you to understand things more deeply. So the challenge for all of us is this: how do you prompt an AI to be the best possible study buddy it can be?